Okay, so this is our next video. With this video, the first time we took the whole chuck, we broke it down into two sections, the cavity and the arm. And then I took them and I broke them into its respective primal pieces. Now we're going to take each of those pieces and we're going to talk about them. So the first up, we're going to talk about our brisket and our blade. Now these videos are not for if you're field dressing an animal and you're hunting. These are videos for customers who want to learn more about meat and where their muscles are coming from. So, let's talk about this brisket. A lot of times when people ask me about brisket, they get confused because we talk, do you want the single or the double brisket? And people say, Dave, I don't know what you're talking about. I just want good. So ultimately it boils down to, on the point end of this brisket, there are two muscles. There's one muscle sitting on top of the other one, and they're separated by this bit of fat here. Now, if you remember from my last video, I was talking about how amazing this fat, and brisket fat is the most delicious fat of them all. So, with your prolonged dry cooking your brisket, you want the fattier end, and you want as much fat as you can, because that fat will steam while you're cooking it, and it'll tenderize your muscle while keeping it very, very moist. So that's your double brisket. On this end of your brisket, this is where it's just one muscle. Basically, the second muscle tapers off and you just have the one muscle. And that single muscle is great for a lot of your braised brisket dishes. And so something like corned beef or, basically if your cooking method with brisket is to braise it, a lot of times you want that single brisket and you want us to remove a little bit of that fat because you're using water to help accelerate the cooking method. Also equally delicious, if you put a plate of corned beef in front of me, I will destroy it, okay? So, this is brisket. I'm just gonna show you how I'm gonna get this prepared because I keep it whole until I sell it. But I'm just gonna cut off some of this excess age, and it's because this chuck has been dry aged for about 3.5 weeks. Why do we dry age it 3.5 weeks? Because we take awesome beef and we continue to make it even more awesome by dry aging it. So in this particular case, because I can bring in these animals whole, I just let them hang for about 3 weeks and then we break it down. I'm going to leave some of this fat on here because somebody might be using their smoker and they want a bit of fat to do their smoking. But that's basically how we'll leave our brisket fabricated. Next up, boneless blade. Boneless blade is the epitome of the great pot roast. Okay, you've got a good amount of fat, but you've got a muscle that's worked a bit. I've got some spine here, and I've got some feather bones. Now, one of the amazing things about blade is this is my rib end blade. What does that mean? It means that this is where the blade ends, and right next to it is where the rib starts. So the difference between a rib end blade steak and a blade end rib steak is about 1 inch. So if you like a rib steak with a lot of decal, you are probably also going to really, really like a rib end blade steak. And the beauty of it is, this rib end blade steak is about 1/3 the price, okay? That's something to always keep an eye out for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow these feather bones.
Andy line one, thank you.
I should make one disclaimer before I get a whole bunch of people rushing into the stores asking for rib end blade steaks, and that's basically that there's only about 1 inch on the entire piece here. So there's not like I have an indefinite amount of rib end blade steaks. This is called the back strap. And this is basically pure elastin. Fantastic if you're going to try to make your own pho. This is the kind of thing you want to be putting into your stock pot. But it's pure elastin, okay? My next step now is to just remove this extra dry age. Okay, so there is my boneless blade. As a pot roast, this muscle is second to none. And like I said, there are some absolutely outstanding steaks that you can cut from this particular blade steak or blade section as well.